So I'm just going to go through some paths for success. Given the limited time we have, I'm just going to go through 3 things that helped me in my athletic career that hopefully can help you in your digital journey. As I mentioned, the title is What Elite Athletes, or in this case me, can teach leaders about digital transformation. So my path to success was I always committed to a goal, to a dream. And I did that with an unwavering belief that whatever I was doing, I was going to make sure it's going to happen. I would assume that in all of your walks of life in your companies, that is first and foremost about your transformative processes, your digital success that you're having in your companies. And you obviously have to commit to that same kind of dream, that same kind of reality that you want to have for your companies, as I did during my athletic career. I conditioned my body and my mind towards a high performance lifestyle. Now, for me, that just didn't mean changing 1 or 2 things. That means changing multiple things. How I sleep, what I eat, my mental preparation, all those things went into becoming the high-performance athlete that I wanted to become. I surrounded myself with others that supported me. I'm going to go through one of the elements. It's going to be number 3, and how important team is. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but certainly you could not do anything in personal life, in professional life, without the support of your team, whether it's home or whether it's work. That's all super, super important. I dedicated myself to continuous learning and to want to always be better. I've got a really simple mantra. I just want to be better tomorrow than I am today. And if I can be better tomorrow and keep that going on, those baby steps, those inch by inch moments where I can continue to move forward, I'm going to be in a really good spot. And I want to commit to a singular vision, a singular high performance mindset vision. So for me, I'd like to call that my gold medal moment. The gold medal moment is not winning a gold medal. We don't control that per se. My gold medal moment is what's important to me, what's personal to me that I tried to accomplish, and that's what I tried to go after every single day. So before I get into a little bit of the good stuff, I'm going to bring you back to when I was a child and what happened to me from an athletic and health perspective. So it was back in 1980. I was 6 years old. I was playing in our family home in North Sydney, Nova Scotia. Shout out to anybody if you have roots in the Maritimes. And I was playing from chair to chair. I jumped from one chair. I was trying to jump to another chair like this right here, and I fell. And I went down on the floor. My mom and dad were upstairs entertaining. They heard me scream. They came downstairs. Dad picked me up. They put me in the family car, and off to the local hospital I went. The doctors did some tests, and they came back osteogenic sarcoma, bone cancer, and it was spreading. And they had to amputate my leg above the knee to save my life. Now, like all of us in this room, we have choices, and those choices are going to help reshape, redefine, and refocus what we think is possible. My mom asked the doctor one question. It wasn't, what's the chances Andrew's going to die? She said, what are the chances Andrew's going to live? And despite being given only a 35% chance at survival, I was able to push as hard as I could. I was on my birthday, January 16th, 1982. I had 1 chemo treatment left for my leg. The doctors came in. We anticipated this meeting would happen. The doctors came in, they talked to my mom and dad, and they said, Bill, Linda, my parents' names, I hate to tell you this, but the cancer has now returned, and it's in Andrew's lung. He's got another 35% chance to beat it. We need to operate right away. And they did that. My mom and dad came back to me on the bedside and they said, Andrew, we're going to be in the hospital a little bit longer, but you're going to be okay. We got this. They didn't tell me the severity of the situation. And I firmly believe outside love, hope is one of the strongest words in the English dictionary. And my mom and dad gave me that hope to be able to continue to move forward. And I was finally able to move forward. I was finally able to leave that hospital. And people would say to me, Andrew, you're so lucky to overcome cancer twice. And I said, who wouldn't be lucky to overcome cancer twice? Once, let alone twice. But I said I was lucky because I wasn't my mom or my dad or all the parents out there who were dealing with health crises for kids in need, and you want to change spaces with them. So that was great on that part. So I was walking out of the hospital, my mom and dad are holding my hand, I got this new artificial leg, and my mom looked down at me and said, Andrew, remember this. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. What matters is how many times you get up that determine the quality of your life. And I've never forgot that. And I've always used that in my life. I've used that in my swimming career. I've used that in with my family. And I use that in my professional career. To no matter what the obstacle ahead of me is to continue to move forward the best I possibly can do. So high performance mindset. So what happened is I left the hospital, I went home, I tried to play floor hockey, road hockey, basketball, all these different sports to try to fit in. Now I had a choice to make. Like I said, we have choices. And those choices were I could feel sorry for myself or I can make something of my life. And when I found swimming at 15, I continued on. I went to my first world championships at 16. On the way home on the plane, I said to myself, Andrew, one day you are going to be a world champion. And that was what happened to me to continue to let me go. Now, the beauty about being a high performance mindset is that's available to everybody in this room. You know, if we dedicate ourselves to being able to do this, you can have a high performance mindset because it doesn't discriminate based on race, religion, age, socioeconomic, all that stuff. It's what you want to do and you control that. But according to Harvard Business School, shift a little bit more in your world, a digital mindset is creating a culture of continuous learning that focuses on a set of attitudes and behaviors that enable your organizations to see how data, algorithms, and AI help open up new possibilities. If you can combine a digital mindset with a high performance mindset, I think you'd be really, really well off. Now, we also know that from a digital perspective, and you guys are the experts, but from a digital perspective, it takes years, correct? To make things happen for your customers, to do that digital customer service mindset. Does it take years or take months? Years, right? Just like Olympics are 4 years, Paralympics are 4 years, World Championships are 4 years, probably your undergraduate degree is 4 years. Things take time. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, and we want to make sure that we continue in that regard. So I wanted to come up with an idea that I could share that would show something in history that was, how do I say, the same as what we were doing now. And I came back to 1962, a speech by then President John F. Kennedy in the States, the American people, about going to the moon. Anybody aware of this speech? So he said, going to the moon. We go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And this goal will rationalize our skills and our abilities to move forward. It is something we are willing to accept, we are unwilling to postpone, and that we will win. So I think about that, and I thought how great that was to my swimming career. I wanted to be successful. I gave the time and effort to be successful, and I put it in. People would say to me, Andrew, you've sacrificed so much in your career. My response was always the same. I didn't sacrifice anything in my career because I invested my time to be the best I possibly could be. So I never saw it as a negative. I always saw it as a positive, move forward and be better as an individual. These are two things, mindset and preparation, that lead to high performance, as far as I'm concerned. Now, somebody once said to me, I'll put this up here, Andrew, tell me what you attribute your success. And I said to them, I just wanted it more than everybody else. I wanted it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning when I was waking up to go to a cold pool when it was minus 20 degrees when I was living in Calgary, on a bike, in the snow. I wanted it more so than all these other people. I wanted it on a weekend when we were training or racing, and other people were not willing to do that. Because it's not just enough to want it. We all probably want something. But do you want it every moment of the day where you're willing to put the time and the effort in to make something a reality? And that's what I was all about. And when we get over to preparation, I'm going to put something up that may sound a little bit interesting. Being great requires being bored. The reality here is that in swimming terminologies, we're doing things over and over and over again. We're going to do 3,100 meter freestyles, 4 laps of the pool if it's short course, 25 meter pool, or 2 laps of the 100 meter pool on a really fast interval repeat. And you do this so when things go a little bit wrong, you've done it so often that you're kind of on autopilot. The late, great Kobe Bryant, as we all know, an amazing champion, he said he often does the things in the dark, which means practice and preparation and those types of things, so he can compete in the light on the court when the Lakers are playing and he puts up, a lot of points. Those are the types of moments that I tried to do as well. We spend so much time training and getting things right that the final moment that you want to shine is that when you're unveiling something perhaps to your customers in that digital stream that you want to make sure it's going to be possible, but you know it's predicated before on a lot of effort. In the morning, and I hope everybody's here because you're at conferences like this trying to, better yourselves, what you're doing. So I hope that you have purpose. I certainly think I do. And when I wake up in the morning, I put a smile on my face. I try to put a smile on other people's faces, whether it's my kids, my wife, people I know at work. It doesn't really matter. I try to be better. I try to make a positive impact. So at nighttime, when I look in the mirror at somebody looking back at me, I know that I did a good job, and I want to continue to do good jobs day after day. Now, there was a study of 7,000 individuals, and they asked one question: do you have purpose and meaning, or do you not? The people who had purpose in their life were 2 times more likely to live longer, and they had the reduced chances of stroke or heart attack. So clearly there's a really fine line here between having purpose and meaning and not. But the one thing about having purpose, which I think is really important in the field that you're in, is because you really want to focus on the size of the prize and what you're doing and everything going on at that particular moment. So we need to live in the moment. Yesterday, that's history. Tomorrow, that's a mystery. Today is the present. That's why it's a gift. And that, if you can live in the present, especially for me in swimming and just making sure I'm not focused on anything else, I'm just focused on the moment, that would be something that you'd probably want to fight for. Control the controllables. This is something that is very big in swimming terminology and sports terminology, because you want to make sure that there's things in your life that help you. There's energy systems. If you are driven by something, that's something you probably can control. If it's going to drain you, that's something you probably can't control. So, process, we control the process. We control our effort, we control how much preparation we're doing, we control how we show up. Outcome, typically we do not control the outcome. We can influence the outcome by our preparation and how we're doing, but we're not going to fully, and I know this very well because there's been times in my life that I set the world record in 200 individual medley one time in my career. 200 individual medley would be four strokes, backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, freestyle, 50 meters of each to do 200 meters. And I still finished second because the person who beat me broke my world record that I'd previously had. Sometimes those things happen. And the story about Timmy, this was a really watershed moment for me. I was going to go to I went to a competition in Antigonish, Nova Scotia. And I was swimming the 100 meter freestyle, 4 laps of the pool. And there was one athlete that I thought I could beat. Timmy. I was the only athlete at this competition with a disability. So the disability is, it's my artificial leg. Here it is with my maple leaf. Don't get a tattoo, it hurts, so wouldn't probably recommend you do that one. So anyways, I'm getting ready to race, and I went 1 minute and 18 seconds. Time's not really relevant. I looked up at the scoreboard, and I knew Timmy had beat me. I went back to my coach, I hopped over, I sat down, and he goes, how'd that go? All happy. I'm like, well, I lost. He goes, I didn't see it that way. And I snapped back. What do you mean you didn't see it that way? I wanted to beat Timmy. He beat me. I lost. He said, what was your best time going into the race? I always knew my best times. 1 minute and 20 seconds. He said, what did you go? 1 minute and 18 seconds. He said, do you know what you did? I snapped back again. I lost. I was mad. He says, no, Andrew. You just set a personal world record. Anytime I hear world record, it's typically something that's really good. But he's now telling me in his way that I set a personal world record because I'd never swam faster in my life in any other pool in the world. So for him, that was a personal record. It made me feel that it was different than saying you just set a best time. He said, however, there were some things that you did not do properly. There you go, the shoe dropped. He said, you were so focused on Timmy, you weren't focused on your start, your turn, your propulsion of your stroke. Nothing. The only thing you were focused on was somebody else. He said, I guarantee you, if you go back to our training pace, which was in Sydney, Cape Breton, and you start focusing on the things you can focus on, that you can control, you will not only start to probably beat Timmy, you probably beat a lot of other people. Well, my revenge moment was a few months later, and he was absolutely correct. Again, I went to this competition. I was the only athlete there with a disability. And not only did I beat Timmy, I beat a lot of other people. And the look in their face when the guy with one leg beat them, that was worth it. Okay. So that predecessed another race, 400-meter freestyle. This time the stakes are a lot higher. This was at the 1992 Paralympics, the highest level of competition for athletes with a physical disability, and I was going in 10th place. In the race in the morning, I was about 14 seconds behind the world record holder. He went 4 minutes and 46 seconds. My best time going in the race was 4 minutes and 58 seconds. I went 4 minutes and 46 seconds, 12-second Canadian record best time, and I qualified second going into finals. At finals, they were talking about 3 athletes winning the medals: Iceland, Norway, Germany. Everybody else was swimming for every other medal. We get behind the blocks. The gun goes off. We get to the pool, in the water. At the 100-meter mark, it's Iceland, Norway, and Germany, just like everybody said, in some other order. At the 200-meter mark, same thing. I'm 4th. The 300-meter mark, Iceland, Norway, Germany, I'm still 4th. And there's a voice inside my head. It said, Andrew, go now. They'll never expect it if you go now. And when they say go in swimming terminology, that means really just bear down, just give everything you have right to the finish, and hopefully you don't die. The devil voice inside my head said, don't go now. You could die. You might finish 7th or 8th. You're 4th. Stay 4th. 4th's good. You weren't supposed to win anyways. The other 3 athletes are supposed to win. The angel voice comes back in my head and said something. And if anything, this is what I want to leave you with, what this voice inside my head said now. Allow yourself to be great. And do we not want a moment in our lives that we have that door of opportunity in front of us, no matter what we're doing, whether it's personal, professional, that we can seize the moment? And how great it would be when you do your digital transformation efforts and it works out amazing. That's something that you can hold on to. You want not only yourself to be great, but you want your whole staff to be great. Iceland, 441 world record. Norway, 442, silver medal. Germany, who cares? Yeah, and I had the medal with me. I won the bronze medal. And that's what the gold medal moment I'm talking about. That's that euphoria inside you that I hope everyone can have one day, where you like, I did it. Now, I didn't think it'd be that good. I didn't think I'd be winning a medal, but I did. And it felt like gold. And we have those moments in our lives where you're doing something. You don't compare yourself to other people. You don't compare yourself to your competitors. You may learn from your competitors, but you shouldn't compare yourself to competitors, because your company is your company, and how you do it is how you do it. I just hope you can do it where you say, I want to be great, but I want the whole company to be great, because we can be great together. Speaking about great, teams of the future, there's a lot of text, but teams of the future, we're focused on ability. I think we should focus on agility. From a performance perspective, if you're agile, you become nimble, you become like this bend but don't break mentality, that when something goes wrong or there's challenges or whatever, your team, instead of running for the exits, they're running to work together. We know that digital customer service is developed over a series of touch points. So to have an amazing team mentality, you put all the different components. I've worked with a company once, I'm not going to name the company, but I worked for the company once. Okay, I'll name the company. It was the Toronto Blue Jays. And there was a silo effect between ticketing, where I was, and marketing and a few other organizations. So a few other within that organization. We could have learned better. We could have learned more. So I think sometimes we have to break down silos, working with the teamwork. And the other thing I want to ask is, ultimately the power of teamwork is our responsibility. You know, amplifying individual strengths, mitigating weaknesses. And this one I'm really big on, is creating a supportive environment that your employees can fail. To me, there's 2 levels of failure. There's failure, and there's being defeated. People who fail want to learn. They want to grow. All right, I didn't do it well this time. I'm going to continue to do that. And that was me in my mindset. I didn't always succeed. There's many times I was disqualified, wrong race plan, whatever the case may be. I always try to learn from it and continue to be better and go forward. The other thing, what do I want to do that? Who knows what TEAM stands for? It's an acronym. First of all, show of hands. Did you know that TEAM is an acronym? Do you know what it is?
I think it's together everyone achieves more.
Yes. Do my job for me. Love it. Good for you. You can put the medal on, take a photo if you want. This is what it is. This is all about what we need to be. We need to work together. We need to know that together everyone achieves more. The team's not just this word on a piece of paper. That we can go back to our fellow employees and we can say, we're going to work together as a team. We're going to allow ourselves to be great, and we're going to do this. So some of the key takeaways is digital customer experience and Olympics, Paralympics, they're big goals worth exploring. I think we can probably all agree on that one. Both require a lot of hard work and unwavering commitment to personal and professional excellence. Both will feature moments that will challenge you, but we're stronger. Now, I've read as much as I could about your industry, digital customer experience. There's challenges. Yes? No? So show of hands. Is there challenges in your line of work? Of course. Mine too, right? We got to be stronger than that. We will be stronger than that. They're a marathon, not a sprint. There's going to be highs and lows, ups and downs. We all got that. But we're stronger together. And how do we get there? We're going to commit to high performance and a digital mindset. I think that's going to be key. We're going to control the controllables, focus on things you can control the process, not so much, the things you can't control, which is finally the outcome. Think about energy systems, things that drain us versus things that drive us. We're going to rely on team, the people. We just mentioned that, and the people are going to help support us, and they're going to prop us up. And we're going to allow yourself to be great every single day. And the final thing is, being challenged, that's inevitable. Being defeated, that's optional. So if you have that mentality that you're going to continue to get up, as my mom, my dad said, Andrew, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up that matters. Keep getting up for you, for your company, for the greater good, for what you want to accomplish, because I'm sure you put a lot of effort and you don't want to let that go to waste. And then finally, you don't have to conquer the world. You just have to conquer your world. And I think you'll find by conquering your world and being in the moment, well, I think you can accomplish a lot. And I'm certainly cheering for you. And I think we are sort of done. So we probably ask some questions. Happy to answer questions. I will be sticking around, by the way, upstairs. So anybody have any questions you want to ask? Yep.
Out of all the companies that you work with, how many do you see actually have a true purpose that company-wide truly align with that sole purpose?
Yeah, did everybody get the question? So, I think that if companies are having me come in and speak to their staff and about motivation and resiliency and in overcoming obstacles, I think that we all want to proceed to that level. Sometimes I think the reality is doesn't match what somebody thinks. I talked to a group, a beverage company earlier this year, and we worked really hard on mindset and goals. It was a sales company, and really kind of focusing on how to come back from challenges. They were having a tough quarter, things weren't going their way, but how do we become resilient in the face of obstacles? So I think that, all your companies in here today are well-meaning, and you want to do great things. And sometimes things don't go exactly what you want, but I think that I really think like events like this and really leveling up your knowledge, your expertise. So kudos to everybody for coming to events like this, just to continue that knowledge. Because like I said, I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. And I think by coming to events like this, you can actually say that that's true. Sometimes I don't get entirely involved with the companies in terms of their overall policies, but everybody's well-meaning, and I hope in some small way that I can help them, work through what they need to work through. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Thanks. So I think a lot of what you said really resonates with me. Like as an athlete, amateur athlete, much of that rings true. I was curious, the things that stand in people's way of becoming great. Potentially your perspective from either research that you alluded to that you've done prior to this conference or other companies that you've worked with. What are some of those things that people kind of put in their way as like obstacles? 'Cause, I mean, I think as an athlete, it's like a lot of times it's pain.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I had to just like, get through this moment. But from a more professional context of, you know, kind of an industry like this, maybe what your perspective would be.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for the question. I think that, you know, so oftentimes people, it's inherent that we don't think the grass is green on the other side. We're not doing it. We're not fully committed to doing something. We feel that we're too old. So I'm 50, but when I was 48, I went back and took my MBA. There was challenges. There's my family, my kids, work. We put challenges in front of us. I firmly believe that we're here. We can get here, but we may or may not get here. But we can get a little bit higher than we are. We're all capable of more, right? We're all capable of allowing ourselves to be great and moving forward. So I think sometimes we don't have the support network. So you have to make sure you have the support network. I mean, the reality is, I got disqualified in a race one time in 1996. I didn't agree with it, didn't like it, but I had people around me who just focus on the positives. So I think if we just focus on the positives, you can get through that. The other thing in terms of moving forward is I think that we get to this mindset that there's things to lose. I'm going to do this, and if I don't do this, it wastes my time. One of the things I've learned in my career is stop thinking so much of what's at stake, whether it's a presentation or what's going on. Focus on what's not at stake. And I know that seems a little bit counterintuitive. What do you mean what's not at stake? What's not at stake is not at stake. But if you go into a situation that you know that your spouse is still going to love you, your pets are still going to lick your face, your Saturday night, your friends are going to want you to come over to play cards or watch something, or go for dinner. There's so many things in our lives that are just not in play when we want to accomplish something great. And if you can relate back to that mentality that I'm going to do this, and if I fail, I fail. I'm going to keep getting up because I want to do this. And as I mentioned, I'm not sacrificing, I'm investing my time. So amateur athlete, pro athlete, recreational athlete, it doesn't really matter. That gold medal moment that I talked about is personal to you and personal to everybody in this room. And it comes with that belief that, you know what, I'm going to run a marathon. And I'm going to be good at it. And I don't care what anybody else says because I'm going to find people who are going to support me running the marathon because I want that for myself. As I mentioned, there's doors that open in our lives. How often, how willing are you to walk through that door? And I think if you want a door to walk through, you got to prepare yourself to be able to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. I can repeat the question, but it's getting the steps.
Well, firstly, thanks for that really inspirational talk. I wondered what advice would you give to team leaders who are trying to build teams that are resilient? So when that uncertainty kicks in, there's a bend versus kind of break mindset.
Yeah, so I've always been like, for me, leadership goes two ways. You know, there's the leadership that we give to our staff, and there's the leadership and the ideas that they give to you. So what can we learn from them? You know, I always try to empower my staff, what they're doing, because I want to learn from them. You know, the idea of allowing yourself to be great and sharing that with them. But as human beings, we're just that. We're just human beings. So like maybe they'll come up to you and they'll share something without the fear of what's the word I'm looking for? Without the fear of sounding dumb or without the fear of reprisal. Like, hey, I think, what about this? So be open to, not going to call it criticism, but be open to just a free-flowing ideas between everybody. Not only that, it's not just the employees directly, it's the employees of other departments. You know, how can you become better integrated with the marketing team, the IT team, the communications team? You know, because I read something that if digital customer service doesn't go well, who do you blame? Right? Like, who's that person that you blame at the company? Is it marketing didn't spend enough money? Is the IT department didn't do enough effort? Is it that, so the customer doesn't care. They just care that it's working or not working. So I think from a perspective of everybody, a 360, what I try to have my swimming career is just this 360 mentality attitude, that even though I was the leader, I empowered my team, my coaches, my teammates, to share with me what they think I can do better and be open to it. People would say, my kids, my 8-year-old, so his name is Christopher, he goes, Dad, you don't need a coach. Because I said to him, Christopher, do you want to do swimming lessons? He goes, I don't need swimming lessons. I'm good at what I do. But I'm like, I needed a coach because I think a coach is really helpful. And your staff members need coaches and leaders who understand them and their trials and tribulations. That's probably my best answer. Hope that helps. Anybody else? Next question gets to wear it. Or I'll wear it. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. There you go.
Can I actually wear it?
Yeah.
I always wanted one of these. I loved your talk. I did have a question just about thinking about, I think a lot of performance is mentality and how you break through those barriers. So I want to hear a little bit about, you kind of alluded to it with the Kobe Bryant quote, those times when you were practicing where it was monotonous or hard or painful. Like, what was your self-talk? What were you telling yourself to get you through those difficult moments?
Yeah, so I always wanted to get through the moments by telling myself that if somebody else in the world was going to a workout, they were going to become better than me. So in your company, I'm not going to ask you what it is, but in your company, if you feel that you didn't do X, Y, and Z from a professional perspective, then maybe somebody else in your industry was doing that you didn't want them to get ahead of you. So as I mentioned in the quote by John F. Kennedy, we don't do it because it's easy, we do it because it's hard. I love that. There's going to be moments that, that's going to challenge us. Do you guys know who Sir Edmund Hillary is? Right? So you do? Yeah. So Sir Edmund Hillary was the first person to climb Mount Everest. And they said to him, even though he died in Everest, they said, why did you climb Mount Everest? His response was, because it's there. That's what I'm talking about. There will be challenges that will challenge all of us in our line of work. This whole digital mindset, digital world, there's really no training wheels. You're doing something that is, up until a few years ago, when it really started to kind of accelerate with COVID, prior to COVID, would it be fair to say that it wasn't as much of a thing as it is now? I think that'd be fair to say. So you're running a little bit behind the curve in terms of, like, there's technology and there's movements and stuff like that. It's like cancer and cancer research. 10 years ago, cancer research was okay, but every year it just accelerates, in terms of trying to do something. So that would be where I would go with it, that I think that it's have to be resilient. I think resiliency would be a word that would be very important in your line of work, and continue to move forward the best you can. I have another medal, by the way, for another question. Hello, by the way, to anybody watching us online. Don't want to forget you guys. So here's my gold medal from World Championships. With all due respect to my gold medal from Paralympics, that's my favorite medal.
So cool.
And there's a story which I'm happy to share with you, like offline upstairs, if you want to. Yeah, go ahead with the question.
Sorry, I got distracted. This is very cool.
That's finally in the back there.
My question was, you talked about like a high performance mindset, right?
Yeah.
And part of it is that you got to want it enough every day. Are there other elements that help with that, or just that's that hunger that you just got to have?
I think everything fits in. So yes, I want it every day. And yeah, I have my bad days. But my mentality on that is, today is a good day to be a great day. Calvin and Hobbes, there's a cartoon, it's great. But there's at times, and we know this from COVID, that not every day is going to be great. I came to terms with this. I came to terms that there's some days I'm just going to wake up and I'm just not going to be who I want to be that day. But I know that there's good in every day. So at the end of the day, it may not have been a 10 out of 10 day. It might have been a 4 out of 10 day. But I'm doing what I possibly can do to make sure that I'm moving towards the better days. Those are the Kobe Bryant moments where in the dark, those 4 out of 10s, 3 out of 10s, you're shooting the baskets. It's It's wearing me down until you get to this pool in Sydney, Australia, or in that case, the 100-meter butterfly at World Championships in Christchurch, New Zealand, 1998, and I win a gold medal like this one, and it felt fantastic. And that's the experience I want everybody in this room to feel with the work that you're doing, is to feel fantastic about it. Because that drives us. That enthusiasm that you have for your work will rub off on other people. And that is when people work together, and that's when you go away from a job to a passion. And if we can have the passion for what we're doing, you're unstoppable. I had more medals, so I can keep going, but I think we're, sorry, are we over? I think we're over. So just a lot of questions. So I probably should end it there, let you guys go to your next lesson or next scheduled, but I'll be around. Thank you so much.